In the Pacific are fueling wildfires on Maui.
That at least 36 people are confirmed dead.
I mean, this shit is just devastating. I don't even know what to say. I mean, I just watched a video on Fox News or CNN of like a helicopter flyby, and I mean, it literally looks like someone hit the delete button on the entire city. I've never seen anything like this. I'll be honest with you, I don't even know when we can go. Obviously, this is going to be our next story, and we're going to readjust what our schedule for docu-series this month. But I've been hearing that, the airports are shut down. Looks like they're trying to get tourists off the island, so we need to kind of wait and play that by ear as to when we're going to go. But it's critical that when we do go, that we let the story tell itself.
Mentally, I'm drained. Mentally, I don't feel there mentally. I haven't left my house in 4 days, I think. She had to drop the kids to school. Well, I just told, she's a trooper. She's amazing. And I told her, like, I don't know what's going on with me. I feel like I can't wake up in the morning. I feel not motivated. I feel stress. I'm in stress. I feel that I'm in a fog. I feel like I can't show up for you or my family. I feel like I'm failing in a lot of ways. But yet again, so mentally, we're trying to pull through, but mentally, I don't know how. I don't know.
How about you?
I feel like, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to, especially when you have kids, There's so much trauma from that day. Like I just remember being in the car and it's like, are we gonna make it out? Is this the last time I'm gonna see my kids and their faces? And just that feeling like you're in complete adrenaline, because it's like, do we go in the water? But we're water people, and I look at the water and I'm like, with the smoke, with the current, with all of that, like, I don't know if we'll make it, and just like that fear that I go to sleep with every night, it's like, but then also like, I've never seen him this way. And so having to carry so much, while you're trying to figure out where the heck we're gonna go, why you want to be a voice for the community, and just like support and listen. I feel like this is my time to just listen to our kahuna, to the people that have way more wisdom than I'll ever have, by years of life. But mentally, yeah, same as him. I'm drained, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, I'm heartbroken. And it's like, but then you're so grateful for the community, and then you feel like, then there's the levels of grief, is like, we lost our home, we lost our town, but we didn't lose family. So there's like so many levels of what you feel, I think, like you don't even know how to feel. We met in Lahaina Intermediate, 7th grade. We started dating.
Wow.
Both graduates of Lahaina Luna. He was 3-time state wrestling champ for Lahaina Luna. I like to tell everybody he's an amazing, amazing heart, humility person. And, you know, we grew up on the streets of Lahaina. For me, it was before school, after practice, down on Front Street, hustling the visitors for quarters to, you know, let my mom know I was good, and for like Whopper Juniors at Burger King.
Same thing here. I mean, we run the streets of Lahaina, playing, you know, without no worry in the world. I mean, we knew everybody in town because a lot of people knew my family in Lahaina. So we couldn't go anywhere without nobody knowing where we was, without our grandparents or our families told us to don't go somewhere. They always found out where we was. You know, there was no place to hide. I did my normal routine of going to our farm, feeding our animals, grabbing eggs, doing all those things, picking some papaya and stuff. And at that time in the morning, I can't even tell you the time it was. Maybe it was like 7:30, 8. That's what time I'd usually wake up. The winds weren't very high. That's just what I experienced.
Yeah.
Where our farm was only really high. So I just went on with my day, fed everything, and I left. And a few hours later, I went back home, go with them. We made all our breakfast and things like that. My grandparents came over and they told me, Trav, like, you gotta go back to the farm. I told them, for what? I just went down there. They said, all my banana trees are on the highway. So I looked at him and started kind of laughing at him, right? Like, all of them, like, not just like maybe one. And this is 12 to 14 foot banana trees. So they're not tiny little. So he's like, no, all of them is laying down on the highway. I told him, all of them.
How many do you have?
Oh, yeah, I had a whole stretch of, so maybe from this building up to
It's like
the pine
30,
tree.
40.
Oh, easy, yeah.
Yeah.
But I told him, really? He's like, I'm serious, Trev, the wind is crazy. So I drove down on the dirt road, and I drove down there, I drove in my lot, and I went down, I was like, holy shit, the wind was blowing, and I was like, my banana trees was laying on the highway. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, fuck. So trying to time it, see if the wind dies down, and this wind does not die down. So I went out. I was like, man, this is crazy. I had my cane knife cutting the banana trees and trying to just fly it, right? I'm flying these big stumps, but the cars are coming, so I'm trying to be safe to make sure the cars can see me too. But when the huge gust would come, I would be hiding behind these little stumps, and like I was like, the wind was howling. I was like, this is insane. So I finally got to the end. The light post that's going on the cane road snapped, fell over, and I was hanging. I was like, holy shit, like this is real. My cousin came out and he helping move one of my chicken pins, and he's like, Bacha, you gotta go, cause this is bad, you know. But at that time the winds were high, but the fire was not there. The fire, I did not see any smoke where the initial fire was.
What time is this roughly?
Fuck, I don't even know. I want to say before like maybe 2, maybe 1-ish, 2.
So you didn't
Late
see
1?
any fire?
No, because where I am, I can see the whole mountain. So if you go to Lahaina, you see the L in the mountain.
You didn't see
It was little
smoke,
below that.
nothing.
No, didn't see
Do you
it.
think you're paying attention though? Because I wonder, because from early on, like
Maybe
I kept telling
I didn't,
him,
but
yeah.
because the winds were so high, and I don't know if I could pay attention.
Yeah,
So-
because you were just trying to get home, and there was light posts. Because I was smelling fire from like
Well, maybe
earlier
then.
in the day, and I kept telling him, and he's like, "Nah, people are like hibachiing, babe. Like, no."
I thought the homeless,
Like,
because
he,
we
like,
live by one of the
cooking-
beach
telling me
parks,
that
and
people
I
are
thought they were
cooking,
maybe
barbecuing. I'm like,
food.
people are barbecuing food in this wind. Like, no.
Doesn't surprise me. The homeless be cooking, firing up their grills, cooking the wool. I'm like, dude, doesn't surprise me, right?
But I smelt it, and it's funny because I thought a lot about 2018. I had just had my daughter the night before that first fire, and I had her at home, so she's like my true Lahaina girl. But the next day the fire started, and we had to evacuate for 5
So
days.
no, I go back home though, and she's grumbling with me, telling me I should go and look at the fire. I'm like, there's no fire.
yeah,
Like,
he
it's
stayed
okay.
inside for a while. Like he
She's
didn't.
like,
go-
no, you need to go and look, because they went outside. She's like, Trav, there's a fire starting. I'm like,
It was
oh,
just
come on,
black.
like it's gonna be okay. Like I told him, if worse comes to worse, we gotta go in the water, right? Not knowing the extent of it. And I go out, I see my childhood friend, my neighbor, and he's walking out, and he's like, I'm like, oh, maybe I gotta go take a look then, right? So I finally go and look. I'm like, oh yeah, I see the smoke. So maybe 5 minutes went by. I went back in the house. I told him, yeah, I see some stuff. I went right back out. my God, the smoke went from a little smoke to black smoke. That's when I knew. I was like, oh shit, like this is kind of real. So I grabbed my son's electric bike and I took it as far up as I could. And it was the point of, I went up as far as I could, and that black cloud was coming and it was blowing down to the ocean. Debris was hitting me. And like I've said, I've seen fire before, but this fire was unimaginable. Like it was if you get caught in it, I cannot believe the people who had to run through it. It was insane because it was starting to get to us. Smoke. I was riding down, one of my childhood friends stopped me and he told me if I'm okay. I told him, yeah, are you okay? Is something wrong? He told me, yeah, my house burned. He got out, gave me a hug. I was like, you gotta go, bro, go. He's like crying, you know, and we're riding our bike. Then I finally ride down. It's already smokes burning Front Street apartments. I ride to them and they're like, I tell them, we gotta go. I told my friend, because we grew up shooting at the water, right? Any fire, we staying home, we shooting the water in the water hose. And we going on our house, shooting our own house down. We fighting the fire ourselves. That's how we got raised to do. And I looked at him, I told him, fuck, don't shoot the water hose, bro. It's not gonna work. It's coming. Get yourself, if mom and dad is sleeping, get yourself and we gotta go. Like it's time to go. No, don't fuck around. If you look at the time that it was at, if you're talking about elderly, when does most elderly take a nap? In the afternoon, right? They take a nap between those times. I know because my grandparents do. I go and clean one of the yards for landscaping and auntie takes a nap. Like she's taking a nap in the house, you know. It's pretty common for old people to be sleeping at that time, you know, and they don't know. Like they can't go outside. Like they don't really, if they're in the old folks home, like it's hard for them to even, or if they're in the house with the doors closed, AC on, like you don't really smell the
And the
smoke.
hard part too is many local people have seen a lot of, you know, especially if they spent time in Oluwalu. I mean, that was one of our things is they've seen a lot of fires, you know, talking to people. It's like a lot of people have seen fires in more Oluwalu side.
Was because of sugarcane era,
Yeah.
you know.
So a lot of the, you know, kupunas, the elderly, they've seen fires before. So I don't think that a lot of them, it didn't trigger like how bad it was. I mean, even just driving out of Lahaina to Kaanapali, people had no idea. And that's a 7-minute drive from Lahaina. 7 minutes away. People are like, oh yeah, they get on fire. But like nobody understood the gravity and how bad it was.
When we told them the fire burnt down the town, they're like, no way. There's no way. Like it's gone. Town's gone. It's a sticky situation. Like I understand that it's weird. It doesn't make any, because we had a big fire in 2018 in Lahaina and there was full transparency. 2018, it was a huge difference. The fire burned down, I don't know, maybe a handful of houses at that time. It was a reoccurring problem of where it started from again. But that fire, it was full transparency from the Maui County, you know, that evacuation, help, like police help, those kind of things was there to help direct everybody out of town. You know what I mean? Everybody out of Lahaina Luna, everybody off of Lahaina Luna to Shaw Street, you know, everybody was evacuated. Everybody, it was just, I don't know if it was because our electric was working too. I don't know, you know what I mean? News-wise, phones, we could call people, we could get in touch with people up top in the Lahaina Luna area. My brother guys was there at that time and he said it was a shit show. Like it's a one way in, one way out kind of street, you know, that it literally is. And you got hundreds of cars coming down because it's all plantation style homes. So you're right next to each other. You know, you're like these rocks, houses right next to each other. And you got cars now trying to come through, you know, it doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
But from 2018 to this was just a full-blown weird situation. Like the story was, it started, the fire started early in the morning. They burned it out. They put it out. Usually they have what's those people called? They have somebody who's standing by and watching so the fire doesn't flare back up.
Observer.
Yes. And then they had nobody for the whole day. They in the morning, they told it that it's 100% contained, but the winds were insane. I've lived here my whole life, and there's stories of Kaula Valley and the wind that blows through that valley, how it whistles, and I get chicken skin talking about it because I was at our place when it happened, and I was down there and the wind was whistling, the wind was howling in an open area, no trees, no anything. And
Something you've never seen before.
something I'd never seen before in my 33 years of life. But you heard the stories of there's winds that come through Kaula Valley, and it's for the first time in my life when I was down there cutting my banana trees, I heard that noise and it was insane. But come back to the story of transparency. They left us with nothing. We didn't have service from in the morning to the afternoon. To the fire, we had no service. Even after the fire, we didn't have service. We didn't have anything. So you send out notifications. What is your notification saying? We're not getting it. You have police officers driving around, but why aren't they just radioing, evacuating, sound the alarms, you know?
So you think they should have sounded?
Oh, yes, for sure. Like they're saying it's...
They say that you guys have been trained to seek higher ground.
No, but okay.
No.
They might say something, but we're not stupid. If you see a fire in the top of the mountain, we're gonna go to the fire? No, you're gonna go away from the fire, of course. The difference is we get it. It goes on first of every single month to test, right? This month or August, it went on twice in that month. Weird that it went on twice in that month. But instead of just testing it, like meaning turn on the alarm for however long they have to leave it on for, they should have just left the damn alarm on. And that would have made people think like, whoa, what the fuck, something's going on. You know what I mean? Because now it's staying on consistent. It's not just going on for, is it a minute or something? And then they turn it off.
Everybody can hear that?
Everybody can hear it. And in Lahaina, dude, it's loud. It's like one of those blowhorn in your ear, you know, and but
Yeah.
so you would have give everybody things like, oh, what's going, they would have at least come out their house because it gets irritating, right? Like, what is going on? Like,
Then they would have seen
Well,
it.
and then the
Yes.
messed up part is a couple weeks later when they had another fire in Kaanapali, my mom guys had just gone and stayed at the hotel, and there's a fire and they set off the alarm.
they set off the
They
alarm.
set off the alarm for the fire.
For a small fire
For a
that was
small
all the way
fire.
somewhere else. I don't know. I cannot give you a true opinion on why they weren't letting traffic just flow, opening up the roads. They had police stopping people at certain points of like, we
Telling
can't
us
go
to
anywhere.
back.
They could see.
I
They
mean-
just
It wasn't
weren't.
dark.
It wasn't just like you gotta go. Go. No,
It
it was
wasn't
that.
like head up north. It
No.
was like kind of like
I understand light poles was on the road, yes, but now you can control traffic from upwards. You have radios. You can control traffic from upwards coming from where the hotels are, stopping that to come in and letting all the guys go in on the next lane to get to safety, to keep the flow of traffic and not be at a gridlock. But it was at a standpoint and we had to make a decision that, fuck, we took it in the next lane whenever it had open space. I was weaving through it and it was like, lucky we know the streets because if we didn't, we would have been.
it was chaos. And personally, we never had anybody come evacuate us. Nobody sounded even a fire truck siren or a police siren. Nobody
Something,
came down
just
the road
anything.
to evacuate anybody. And so when he says we were left blind and deaf, is like you had no idea. Number one, no service, no evacuation, no sirens, no nothing.
No form of communication.
And so
at
a lot
all.
of people didn't understand how bad that fire was till it was right at their doorstep.
Yeah.
And because the winds were so high, it was like that. It was happened so fast.
I have no time to grieve. Like I told my wife, I have no time to grieve. You know, my heart hurts for our community of Lahaina. I can't express my gratitude to each and every one of you family of Lahaina. I mean, I feel you. I love you. I'm here with you. And I pray for you guys each and every day.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
and it's another. I mean, that's another point too. Is like, we go back to work, and there's all these meetings being held, and there's all these, whatever council meetings on other islands up over here, where it's like people from Lahaina lost literally everything: their cars, their homes, we talked about like generations.
Talk about generational. Look at my family. They're just one of hundreds of families that's multi-generations. I'm 6 generations, and that's not just me. That's hundreds other, that's in the same place as I am, but we have nothing to show for. I have nothing to show my grandkids. I have nothing to show my great-grandkids of what their great-great-great-parents did. I have nothing. We have nothing. Everything is burned to the ashes. We have lost everything. I mean, and I cannot, it says a lot for myself. Like we've lost history for my family, not just of Lahaina, but history for my family as well. And I'm sure every other family feels the same, just because like we said, you're prideful, every human is prideful, and the things their grandfather or grandmother or great did, it's like you hold pride in those kind of things, and little things of like little sentimental value things mean a lot in the long run of it, and it's now gone. It's like a slap in the face kind of thing, They want to own Hawaii, but yet again, they give us very bare minimum of this whole thing that's gone on, They rather, God bless Ukraine and all that stuff, but it's like we're just as much in need at this time than other countries as well, We're the 50th state supposedly, right? But yet again, $700 offered from Biden was like wow, like that's kind of messed up, you know what I mean? We got a $700 stimulus check from pandemic, and that's horrible itself, but that's what it was. And
so they just didn't know what $700 could
no,
that could be 2 visits to the grocery store.
Yeah, literally, we went to the grocery store the other day to buy groceries. Cost us $300 to come out with 4 bags of food. $300 to come out with 4 bags of food. And we're talking about not junks and not those kind of things, not ribeyes, not those kind of stuff. We're talking about just food, good food, nourishing food. So we can make beef stews, we can make hamburger, like tacos, It's not like I said, we're not buying lobsters, shrimps, we're not buying crab legs, we're not buying all those things. It's your normal shopping. I don't have snacks for the kid. I don't have a bunch of candy bars and stuff for the kids, So it's $700 really isn't gonna do us a damn thing,
And it's hard, I think that it's been a problem for a long time. The support here is we have a massive amount of tourism. That's how a lot of us get paid and collect wages, but it's like the local people continuously get the shit into the stick,
Then they get priced out.
They get priced out. They get priced out. All of our food, a lot of our food that is grown in Hawaii is shipped out of Hawaii. 93% of our food is shipped into Hawaii.
Yeah.
I think,
Did it used to be like
don't
that?
quote me. I mean, not.
Yeah, that's not. I don't know if the percentages are
me.
correct, but it's very similar.
But it's like a very high percentage, like between 80 and 90.
It's at least 80%, I know for sure.
I mean, when the pandemic happened, it's like we only had 7 days for our entire island to survive if the barges stopped coming.
That's what they said.
But I think that we're definitely, it's like this is a place that's highlighted in a lot of people's lives. They want to come to Maui. It's such a big pride thing too for the outside world is to be able to come to Hawaii. But yet, the local people who make Hawaii are continuously left on the back burner. We have, like he said, the community has been the ones coming together. The community has been the ones fighting for people and the world and our home to be supported. They're hooked up with somebody in Alaska. We have people from Alaska that we've been fortunate to become family with now because, that's what this has created as well. It's like it's been so dark and so destructive and so frustrating and sad and heartbreaking. And on the other end, you have people that are willing to step up, and that's not from federal government. That's not from Hawaii government. That's just the people. That's the aloha that we carry and that we feel and that we pass forward. And so,
but this is what they feel that they have to do, coming from being born and raised in Hawaii. Now they live at different places, but they are showing up for their hometown, their towns, their place of Hawaii.
And I feel like if our community wasn't the way it was, if it wasn't involved at all, we would be left with maybe how much? Like
I don't know.
less than $2,500.
Is there anything that you want to tell people right now that isn't out there? This is your chance. I'm not going to cut it out.
We don't.
It's going to be there.
She,
Anything.
you know more like not.
Is there a message you have
I
for
feel
people?
like right now, unfortunately, business people win because their minds are clear and they're not here. They know how to be wolves in the system, you know, like they know how to do business. Developers know how to do business. Government knows how to do business. County knows how to do business. Local people that live here, that are raised here, that are born here, that are generations here, they have the respect for the land, the Aina. They have respect for their community and their homes. But we're here. And so in this time, what I feel is that we have to learn how to keep our minds clear and our hearts open, because it is a long journey ahead. It's going to be a long road of rebuilding, of healing, of moving through all the PTSD and trauma that our community is facing. And you have our keiki, who are like so beautiful and so pure, and they have been the highlight in this for me, because it brings me to this moment. It's like they're here. I get to smell my kids and hug them and love them. And so to keep them there in that purity and that innocence. And then you have our kupuna. Like I said, they have so much wisdom and lifetimes of knowledge and life that they've lived. And then you have us in the center. And our keiki and our kupuna are going to be the ones that carry the message. And we're going to be ones that build the bridge into the restoration, into the revival, into the healing, into all the things that we have looking forward, you know, all the things we have to do looking forward. So my message for Lahaina, for my family, for my community, is that heal, take the time to mentally, spiritually get right, because we need voices. We need people to use their voices. We need people to stand in their truth and their knowledge and the ancient knowledge. You know, like I work in the birth industry, and I work with an indigenous midwife who's beyond incredible. And she carries this knowledge, this medicine that has been passed down through generations, something that can't be taught in books, it can't be gifted, it can't be read, it's felt. And that's what Lahaina is. It's generations of that pride, of that love, of that community, of the knowledge, and we carry that. You know, government, federal government, all of that, it's a different level of love for your home. And so to just keep that in mind is that we have to heal and keep our minds clear and keep our hearts open.
Yeah.
What we got?
So this guy... Oh shit. I don't know who this is.
Just answer, they'll tell you.
This is John.
Hi, John. This is Cammie Irwin.
Hi, Cammie. How are you?
Oh, you know, I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
It's such a weird question these days.
I know.
It's, you know, and my old home burned down, my friends' houses, like, it's been pretty unreal, but I do have to say, like, the spirit here is still, like, people have been so amazing, and if we didn't have the residents pull together, we would have been in a world of hurt because the government has given us nothing.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So I will say that everybody is like pretty much in good spirits considering what happened. But yeah, it's just now it's a rebuild time.
Yeah. How, I mean, and how is that even going? Because, we're kind of noticing everything's still shut down. We were doing some research, and it sounds like October is when they're going to start reopening things.
Well, you know what's crazy is our mayor and our governor both are at odds all the time. And I've been just promoting tourism because we need it so bad. Layoffs are like going on like crazy here, and people can't sustain a life out here with the $600 on unemployment they can maybe get if they don't get rejected.
Yeah, our flight here had nobody on the plane. It was
My God, that's not awesome.
from LA too, which is pretty. I mean, we all had open rows. It was
crazy.
It was absolutely crazy, and that's something that I think we're hearing a lot of from a lot of people. Is even our Uber driver, he's like, we want people to come. Please come. Like, we need it. Like, we depend on it. And I think that's part of the story that a lot of people don't know. Is that
and that's what needs to be heard, because there's a small minority that's always anti-tourism on Maui, and it's a lot of locals. It's a lot of people who, think that they can live off the land. Well, no, I'm sorry, but we rely on like 40% of how Maui sustains it's from tourism.
Maybe if you can break down your availability today or tomorrow, we can find a good time to link up and just get your perspective on everything.
Yeah, no, tomorrow I'm good to go for tomorrow. Anytime that you guys want.
Yeah, so, well, I look forward to talking to you tomorrow, and we'll see you at, what do we say, 11:30?
11:30, Maui Brewing.
11:30, yeah.
Cool.
I'll send you the address, and then I'll see if Garrett's available too. He's been a huge person here helping people. We've both been just like tag teaming the island of like getting people help. So yeah.
Well, I'll put you, me, and Gavin in a group text right now, and then
cool.
If you could just send that.
Yeah, no, that would be great. And let me know if you guys need anything, and then I'll get a list of some people and see if they're available to talk to you guys too.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Take care.
See ya.
We are here to promote responsible tourism. We are working with Global Empowerment Mission. I know that they're hiring people to help come work in the facilities. We haven't started rebuilding Maui yet, but we're trying to promote, come out here, spend money at local businesses, because that will help keep employees. And if a lot of them are signing up for unemployment and still not getting it, and it's only $600 if you do get unemployment here.
You say some people are not getting unemployment.
So people that were displaced, personal friends of mine, they had to leave island, decided to go back to their hometowns for a little bit till life kind of settles down. They signed up for unemployment. If they say that they are going off island for a little bit, they will then get their unemployment canceled because they don't have a home here. So it's just like, how do you rebuild from that when people need money? People lost everything.
And people that are leaving, or people that just don't have anything here.
Yeah, they lost everything.
Their families in the States.
Yeah, just to go back to the mainland, at least they can have a roof over their heads while we try to get Maui rebuilt as fast as we can. And Garrett and his crew are working on getting boxables, homes out here and set up so that the community can start getting people back under roofs.
So you guys are obviously a major employer out here, and you said you've had to lay people off. Are you getting any assistance from the SBA?
Garrett just was in DC trying to get more loans. We're not getting PPE loans to help the businesses, which helps the employees and everyone else. And so he's been trying his best to work with other businesses and just get more help out here for Maui, because we're easily going to be forgotten.
But at this time, nothing.
Not that we really know of yet. So
we're here at Maui Brewing Company, and your name is?
Garrett Marrero. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Maui Brewing. We've been here in the community for almost 20 years now, and when we started Maui Brewing back in 2005, and we've, of course, this is our home, this is where our family, our ohana is. So, the moment there's a call, and even if it's not a physical call, you just know that people needed help. And so for us, we got up immediately in the morning on Wednesday after being here with the fire behind the brewery until about 1:30 in the morning the night before. We got up, cleared the cabinets, and just went to work. People needed help, and there wasn't a lot of resources for them. So I made some calls and got access to the west side, and we just hit the ground running. We had put a call out for help with getting the items donated that we needed to be able to get to the west side. Cammie went to Costco and bought a bunch of stuff, cleared our cabinets out from the house. People were dropping things off here at the brewery, so this kind of became a de facto drop spot for donations.
Wow.
As you're aware, the west side was closed, and therefore no one could drive over there unless you had special clearance. So we got that special clearance. We had to get new clearances every day, and the process kept changing. But fortunately, in 20 years, we've built some good relationships with MPD and the mayor's office, and politicians at large. So able to get that clearance. And so we drove caravans every day. I'm a pilot, so we also flew some missions over, and we got clearance for other private pilots, what they call general aviation, to fly to the west side. I think in the first 3 days, we ran 87 missions via general aviation, and we flew over 100,000 pounds of goods to the west side. We're talking about a 9-minute flight from central Maui, Kahului Airport, over to Kahului, stuff out of here, and even just dropped at the airport when we were on our way. So, I mean, it was full on, like, imagine a convoy running through in a military op, everybody's high speed, bumper to, nose to bumper, just in a row and just navigating the roads and getting where we needed to get, because that's what was necessary. Well, some things too were sensitive, because there'd be some time on the road that, whether it be medication or emergency need, like, hey, I need this now, not in 2 hours. That when those calls came, it was no question we had to go by air, and it was more of a I was never going to beg forgiveness. We were just going to do what it took, but we definitely weren't asking permission off. It was and it was very well received by every level of government generally, that we were just doing what it took to help. I've got a great team that I've built over 20 years, and they all wanted to help, and I told them, I was like, hey, I'm doing the work with my own hands, but you're working through my hands. So you doing your job here at the brewery, keeping that going, doing your work well, is how I'm able to go do this. I never had any lack of confidence in the team running the business, so that I could go do what was necessary for the community. We did have a fundraiser. My CFI, my instructor, he started a fundraiser on GoFundMe for aviation fuel. So that quickly raised about $40,000 within a couple of days. And we paid for all the general aviation pilots that wanted reimbursement for their fuel. We were able to reimburse them through that fund. So the missions got going quick, and nobody cared about that. But after the fact, having that fundraise was really nice to be able to compensate the pilots a little bit. We had to get an FAA waiver to be able to do that, believe it or not, because we're not allowed to pay for fuel for others. So, I think the best way people can help, and I think in large, what I'm hearing from the mainland and from even abroad is, hey, how can I help Maui? Where can we send goods? Where can we send money? And my position is that, hold your goods, because we've got enough. The boats are running, we're getting restocked, it's not a problem. Donating to local charities is a great way to help. The best way someone can help right now is to keep their plans to come to Hawaii, to visit Hawaii, especially Maui right now. Maui is vast. It's a big place, compared to maybe some spots in the mainland, not so much. But in Hawaii, we've got a lot of room here. So Wailea, Kihei, Hana, Central Maui, there's a lot of places you can stay where the west side may be closed for now. It's not going to be much longer. We have about a month before the west side opens to regular tourism. And that is just from the government approving that, and the business is asking for that. It is my job to make sure that paychecks are paid, and that we're, being able for our teammates to afford food and gas and everything they need. So the only way we can do that in a food and beverage business is by selling food and beverage. Right. A lot of people rely on tips as well as a big part of their income, not unlike any F&B anywhere. So if we don't have visitors, there aren't jobs. So when I say it's irresponsible to say don't come to Maui, that is being very nice, because all you're doing is hurting the rest of the island that you think you want to help. You're actually hurting by not coming here. Within the first week after the fires, we already saw a precipitous drop in business here in Kihei, which was unaffected by the fires. So, there was no reason for that to happen. And, the layoffs started happening by week 2 at most businesses throughout South Maui and Central Maui. I know most of the hotels have laid off at least half of their staff. So when a hotel in South Maui lays off staff, when they say 50%, that's between 200 and 300 people. So you're talking about a loss of jobs that, isn't going to be replaced very quickly. And, this isn't pandemic. This isn't, PPP's not coming. We're not getting that type of assistance here.
You're not getting any aid.
No, there's talk of grant programs coming, and of course the government is doing their part, but they're not set up to help an island that's in the middle of the Pacific that doesn't have the ability to drive 3 or 4 hours away to go move and go, find places to work. We don't have an economy if we don't have tourism. So, EIDL loans, the SBA disaster loans. Those programs are great, but in our environment right now, nobody wants to add debt to their books to fund payroll that we have to pay back later when we don't even have the income today. Right. So this is where I go back to the number one thing people can do to help is not to say, don't come. It's to say, make sure you come. And if you weren't planning on coming, book a trip, because that's how we survive. And I'm a big believer in us helping ourselves. And so you can come, enjoy Maui, have a great time, enjoy a Maui Brewing beer by the pool, have a Mai Tai, but then maybe even consider serving for a day. Go to the food bank, go to the Humane Society. There's plenty of charitable organizations on the ground right now that you can volunteer at. So I think I'd like to add, while someone asking the question, should I come? It's different from someone saying don't come, right? So don't come to Maui, it's highly irresponsible. Someone asking me, should we come? That's already showing me that you're a responsible tourist. You're exactly the type of person we want visiting because you care enough to ask. So the best thing you can do is yes, come, but come with a bit of patience because our island's a little different right now, but also with the intent to serve and to help and to contribute to the community. And that's what we need right now is responsible tourism. There's just a ton of misinformation out there. Without question, the space lasers and Oprah did not cause this fire. There's all kinds of BS, frankly, that is it gets in the way and it clouds the story, it clouds the truth, and really slows healing. What we really need to do is focus on getting the messaging out that, look, FEMA's not here to take your land. Understand what you're signing, which is a right to entry so that they can go do the cleanup, but that doesn't give them the right to take your land. So that is irresponsible. When someone's pushing messaging about, these stories of how the fires started that are, you've got basically the equivalent of men in black stationed everywhere, is totally untrue. I drove that route every day for the first couple of weeks, and seeing the videos, you might as well have been looking out of my window. And these are local people who are just in their private vehicles. They say foreign cars. They're in a Toyota. Come on.
Right. You're talking to the police that are the Nissan.
Totally. They're just there to make sure that people aren't hiking down into Lahaina because it's a toxic environment. And I can attest to that because I was boots on ground every day. And there were a few days there that when I stayed closer to the impacted area directly, that I had the gnarliest headaches ever. And that was all because of smoke and the chemicals that are in the air from the toxicity of just burning everything from insulation to pipe to wire to chemicals. So let's not spread bullshit rumors, frankly, and make sure that we're spreading facts.
Why do you think that stuff kicks up?
Social media. It's just more exciting to talk about it, but I'm a big believer in Occam's razor, which is a razor principle essentially that says the most obvious answer is probably the right one. And I always say, do you think it's more likely that MPD, local police officers, were blocking people to send them to their death, while in many cases their own homes or their own family homes burned, right? Do you think that's more likely? Or do you think it's more likely that our government was just that ill-prepared and incompetent and not equipped to handle the emergency? It's unfortunate that that's the fact. So stop spreading the rumor that MPD tried to kill their own. This, though, is a fallacy, fantasy story that people think, and they get all up in a tizzy when that is not helping anyone.
Right. And the government's response?
Slow. But once it happened, it happened. There were a lot of mistakes made. And number one, the biggest mistake that was made is that we knew this was a problem and we never did anything about it.
Talk to me about it. Yeah.
I've been here almost 20 years and I've been saying, why do we have overhead power lines? Every year we're replacing power poles because they break due to wind damage. So why do we keep that's literally the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting results to change. Well, we should have been burying those lines years ago. And they said it was very expensive to do so, which I would now argue makes it very cheap. So beyond the loss of life, and just look at it from an economic standpoint. Redundant systems for the water. Why we have to ask for water from private water rights owners when there's life and property at risk. Salt water puts out fire just as good as pure fresh water. So why don't we have a boat that we can fight the fire from the ocean? Why don't we have a way to charge the lines with salt water coming from the ocean as opposed to, waiting, the hydrants running dry. These are simple things that we could have done. Number one is bury the lines, and that would have avoided a lot of these issues. We're spending a lot more money on foreign countries than we are on our own country right now, and that's a real problem for me. Understanding the geopolitical nature of that issue with Ukraine and understanding its importance in the larger political structure. That doesn't matter to me. America needs to be first right now, and our people are hurting here and in Florida and other areas of disaster. So we really need to be allocating more resources. I was in DC last week and I spoke to Senator Schatz's office, Senator Roman's office, Rep. Takuta's office as well. They all understand. They all know what's needed. But when we say it's an act of Congress and use that as an expression of how difficult it is to move, that's what it's going to take to get real things done for Hawaii. But they are listening. And so when I flew into DC and the next day I was meeting with them and then I had a board meeting the following day. But, they take the time to listen and they do know we need more than what they're able to offer right now. I think if I could write the checks, I wouldn't have paid anybody anything directly unless they didn't have work, right? So, and the reason for that is if you step down the structure, you're saying, we're just giving free money out. We already trained everybody with a horrible lesson during the pandemic that you don't need to do anything, but you're going to get money, which is why we have this huge labor problem in America now. And why even here, there's a sense of pandemic-related kind of psyche because we just got out of pandemic. In Hawaii, it lasted like 3 years. So there's this training that, it's pandemic. I would do, anybody who's working payroll, I would be paying the businesses to keep those people on payroll. At whatever wages they're earning, that's what we'd be paying. Very much like a PPP program. That would be what's necessary. And the reason I would do it that way is because you got to show up to work. You got to be on the payroll. And if you don't come back to work when tourism starts up again, then that gets cut off because you have a choice to work or not. So if we do direct payments, people just stay at home. So I think it's better to do it through businesses so they can pay their payrolls. And this is what I've asked the federal government for: forgivable idle loans. So kind of a PPP version, but we qualify for an idle as long as we use the funds for permitted purposes like payroll, rent, mortgage, utility, etc. Those portions should be forgivable. Now, if you take any of that money and use it to refinance your existing debt, if that was even allowed, we should ask them to make allowable, then that portion, of course, would be something that's debt to the business because it was used at a different purpose. So that's the structure that I would have put in place. But rewind a second, day one, I would not have said Maui's closed, don't come either. I would have said, instead of shipping 14,000 people a day back to California, I would have said, no, ship them to South Maui, fill up the hotels down there, keep the economy going. We're going to handle this disaster. That's what I'm a fighter. I just believe in the no quit, don't take no bullshit for an answer, that kind of stuff. You're one of us. So I'm just a big believer in doing what it takes, and our community needs us. If I can help, that's my duty, it's my responsibility. This is not the place that we opened when we first started, and I've earned this position over the last 20 years almost. But because we have those resources, that comes with responsibility and a duty that I hear the call to serve and I serve. That's what it takes. Getting up and wanting to do it is just that simple because it's necessary.
Maui's open. Responsible tourists.
Maui's open. West Maui is going to open October 8th. There's going to be it's still evolving what that situation will look like. But there's nothing better that someone can do that wants to help than to come to Maui, visit, enjoy yourselves, come with an intent to serve. And that's going to be, I think the vast majority of tourists, when they visit a place, want to contribute to the place, right? I know when we travel, that's how we look. We say, hey, where can we put our money to work? Where can we, if we can do something that helps that economy even more than the tourism, then we're doing a good thing. It feels good. And I think that's what most people want. So being able to take a dog out for the day from the Humane Society to get a break from chemicals. Packing boxes with global empowerment missions so that families that are displaced can come and pick up a box of goods. Working at the food bank to organize the supplies that are coming in. There's simple ways that a visitor can come in and even just do one day of work to support the community and it'd be very appreciated, and it'd be far better than this ill-conceived, misinformed, and irresponsible message of don't come.